Hey, Mommy Bosses. I'm Kenya Halliburton. I am a signature course creation expert and life-friendly business choreographer, and I'm here with the Mommy Business Podcast.
Kenya is a devoted mom of three, signature course creator, also an expert in life and friendly business coach for emerging women, entrepreneurs with big ambitions and complicated lives. But by 2015, found herself juggling a business, 3 babies, in a terrible marriage. Overcome by the trials of her personal life, her business stalled. And by the start of 2017, she was divorced, homeless, and penniless. Determined to create a better life for her and her children, she committed to the journey of personal development and designed her business to serve her life as well as those she served. Today, she runs a thriving business, passionately helping other women overcome life's curveballs to become their best selves and find success in both life and business. As a result of her trials and her love for online marketing and management, she created the Content, Client, and Cash Flow System, a 7-step personal and online business development program designed to teach emerging women entrepreneurs how to create lives and businesses that they love waking up to. When she's not helping her clients build life-friendly businesses that make money and meaning, you can find her hanging out with her boys or giving herself some well-deserved TLC. God is my boss. Being a business owner is one thing, but when you add wife and mom to that, oh, that's a whole different ball game. Welcome to the Mommy Business Podcast. We are here to discover how to win at this thing called life. It's time for you to design the life of your dreams, one building block at a time. This is Mommy Business with Letitia. Hello, Mommy Balls. Welcome to another episode of the Mommy Business Podcast, where we are here to inspire, encourage, motivate, and educate mom and business owners. Today, we have a very special guest that is going to talk to us about the true meaning of being a shero. As you already heard in the intro, she believes that your life is your business, so your business should support your life. Amen, girl. I like that. She is the true example of winning at this thing we call life. Hello, Kenya. Welcome to the Mommy Business Podcast.
Hey, Letitia. I'm glad to be here.
Yay. So thank you so much for joining us. So, oh my God, like your bio is so impressive. I can't wait to dig into a little bit more and learn all this knowledge from you. But first, I have to ask you, are you willing to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Because on the Mommy Business Podcast, we're keeping it real, raw, and it's necessary information.
Absolutely. I don't know another way.
Okay, well, let's get started. First of all, just give us a little background about yourself and how you got started in your business.
Well, I've always been entrepreneurial ever since I can remember. In my former life, I thought that I was going to be an aspiring songwriter and choreographer. That was the path that I was pursuing in my early 20s. So I've always had that desire to be my own boss and create something that impacts the lives of others.
Okay.
But so I dabbled in it. I dabbled in it when I was younger, and then I worked a little bit and that kind of thing. But the path that kind of led me a little bit more to where I am and what I'm doing today was I was married. I was a military wife.
Oh, wow. So you traveled a lot then.
We traveled quite a bit.
Okay.
And in this particular instance, we were expecting our first child, and we got orders to move to another state. And so I thought, this is a perfect opportunity for me to, create my business, because I had quit my job and I didn't have a job, and I didn't really like the idea of going back to work when my son was born. So I was like, you know what, let me take this 9 months or so to build something.
Yes.
And that's what I did. And so there was actually a program that trained military wives on how to be virtual assistants. And that was
Oh.
kind of where I dipped my toe in a little bit. I was like, oh, my background was in admin. I did a lot of admin support type jobs. And I said, this will be an easy way into this whole entrepreneurial thing. And so my initial vision was to create a virtual assistant business.
Okay.
And so that's what I did. I poured myself into doing that. And after I had my son, I sat there with him on my little bobby pillow, nursing and typing away. And so that's what kickstarted it. But then I fell in love with the whole process of marketing and putting yourself out there. And so then I found a program that trains you on how to be an online business manager. So I did that. And that basically just taught me how all the moving pieces of marketing and product development and all of those pieces that create a business fit together. And so even though I had that management skill, I still was in love with doing stuff and helping people manifest their dreams. And so that's kind of where it started for me. I wanted the flexibility to be there with my son and to create some flexibility and freedom and just to see what I could actually create.
I like that. So, virtual assistant, can you give me a little bit more information about that?
Yeah.
Explain exactly what that is.
Yeah, so virtual assistance is basically where you are working virtually to support somebody in an office somewhere else in the world, anywhere else. And so it kind of encompasses anything from doing general office work, you can virtually file. But nowadays it's kind of expanded. You have virtual assistants for social media. You have virtual assistants who, focus on like web design. There's a lot of different variations. But basically, virtual assistants is just being able to hire a contractor versus an employee. Most virtual assistants are in business for themselves. So it saves the business owner money because they don't have to worry about insurance and all of that kind of stuff. So when I first started, it was very rare. It was like a new thing.
Yes,
like that was back in 2007. So it's like,
when was that, girl?
2007. So
Okay.
a lot has changed since then. Actually, the market is now way oversaturated, but that's a whole nother talk show. But yeah, it's just a convenient and affordable way for business owners to get stuff done in their business without incurring a lot of cost that comes when you're dealing with like employees and things like that. Yeah.
That's really good because I know like as a military wife, it's difficult for you to actually stay with a company because your spouse moves around a lot.
Yeah.
So that was like a really good area to be in because you can work from anywhere.
Absolutely.
So.
And I didn't even realize that I was kind of building on this life-friendly thing then. I was just like, oh, this would be cool. I hadn't even really thought about the ramifications of like the flexibility and all that. I just thought this was convenient for now. But you're right. Like, that's one of the challenges as a military wife is like it's hard for you to actually have a career unless you like work for the government and then that job like follows you wherever you go. But so yeah.
Cool. So tell me one thing. How was it that you were able to juggle like your business, also being a new mom and also being a wife to a military husband? Because my dad is retired from the Navy. And so I know that they're very demanding. So
Yeah.
how was you able to balance that?
Honestly, because we're talking about the truth, right?
Yeah,
I
true.
didn't do it well initially at all.
Okay.
And I guess, no, I didn't do that well at all. I think I kind of stumbled into something that worked for me by figuring out first of all, by failing so many times, you figure out what doesn't work.
Yes. Learn from the failures.
Yeah. So, one of the challenges for me is that my then husband wasn't all that stoked about me starting my business.
Okay.
He had a different vision for me in terms of what he wanted me to do. He wanted me to just kind of go get a government job and just kind of have that, when you're an entrepreneur, that's more risky or whatever. So there was already an issue right then and there, right? So, I kind of had to figure out how to balance being a wife and a mom in the traditional sense of the word, but kind of also not give up what was important to me, which is figuring out who I was and what I was good at. And I needed that. So I just really wasn't willing to negotiate on that. And that caused some challenges along the way. But, you know, you live and you learn.
Yeah. Do you mind me asking, at what age how old were you when you got married?
I was 24.
Okay, so you was definitely still in that figuring out stage of yourself. You don't fully know yourself at the age of 24.
Oh, no. So, I recently had a birthday and somebody asked me, like, do you miss your 20s? I was like, oh, no, I would never want to be her again.
Oh, my goodness. I know, right?
Not knowing what I know now. If I knew what I knew now and I could be 20, then great.
And you can't.
Yeah.
So, yeah. When you're in your 20s, you're trying to figure things out. And then I feel like when you're in your 30s, okay, you sort of know the path you want to take. So you're still trying to figure it all out.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, man, in my 50s, I should be living my best life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that seems to be the trend. Everyone that I know, a lot of my friends that are older that have hit those marks in age and in life, they always say like, oh, the 40s was like my new 20s, 50s was like amazing, 60s. Look, I'm going to say what I want to say and do what I want to do. You know?
So we got some work to do. So.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me, at what point did you realize that, okay, it's difficult, you know, having a child, focusing on my business and also my marriage. So at what point do you realize, like, you know what, I have to put me first. I have to do what's best for me.
Yeah.
Yes, I love my husband and, you know, I want to try to work on our marriage, but I still need your support.
Yeah.
And you can't be good for anybody if you're not good for yourself.
Absolutely. It was a long journey for me, figuring that out. I think in my situation, my marriage became very toxic. There was like emotional abuse and some things going on. And so as a result of going through those moments and kind of putting myself on a back burner for someone who, you know, never reciprocated whatever it was that I gave. And, you know, over the years, I became kind of a shell of myself, you know, constantly trying to perform and give to my spouse, to my children. I just wasn't really taking care of myself and giving myself the time and attention that was necessary. And so it just got to a point where I just felt like, okay, something has got to give because I'm miserable. And I think it was in that moment where there was a moment in my life where I woke up and I realized that everyone around me, my kids, my clients, my friends, my husband, everyone around me was getting what they wanted out of my life but me.
Wow.
And I was like, this is not how this is supposed to work, you know? And so I think I made it, when I realized that, I was like, wait, I asked myself the question, what do you want? I was actually watching a Beyonce documentary. I got the, you know, your wisdom comes from the strangest places, revelations. Yes. I was boycotting life one day, just like, why is my life like this? And I was watching a documentary, and Her Life is But a Dream documentary, and she asked herself, after she fired her dad and became her own manager, she was like, one of the first things that I did was I asked myself, what do I want?
Oh, wow.
And I was like in a crazy space. I was like, that's a stupid question.
Right.
Like, what is? So I asked myself, you know, in that moment, just kind of in my head, like, what do you want? And I couldn't answer it. I was like, I have no idea what I want. And then I looked around and everyone was getting what they wanted. And so from that moment, I was like, you know what? Not anymore. And so I ended up firing clients who weren't paying on time. I ended up, you know, me and my husband ended up getting a divorce. You know, a lot of things started to fall away, which was really hard because some of the things that you love, you have to let go when you're trying to pursue you, you know, and it's not the funnest experience to go through. But for me, it was necessary to figure out, okay, what does it take for me to love myself enough to walk into the purpose that God had preordained for me from the beginning. So
that was a tough decision. I mean, people could probably say I mean, that's selfish. You know, because you're trying to discover yourself. So you're just going to let go of everybody else or, you know, make that decision to just be selfish. But sometimes when you want to figure out your best life and make the best decisions for you, you have to be selfish about yourself.
Yeah. And I heard somebody say one time, like, how dare you worry about yourself and not worry about me. Because that's what,
Wow.
when somebody's telling you you're being selfish, it's like, how dare you think about yourself?
Right.
You need to be focusing on me. And so I think that there's a healthy balance that you need to strike. You don't want to be, selfish in the negative sense of the term, where you are focusing on yourself to the detriment of others.
Right.
But you do have to, take, as a mom, and I know you can relate to this, a lot of the listeners can relate to this too. Like, we are holding down 5 and 6 jobs. We're chef, we're the maid, we're the nanny, we're the mom, we're the wife, we're the cook, and then if we have other things that we're pursuing, we're business owners, we're doing all those things too. So if we don't take time for ourselves, if you don't take time to be selfish and to focus on self-care and helping yourself, nobody else will.
That's self-love.
That's self-love.
Yep. I totally can relate to that. And I agree, because where I'm at right now in my life, it's like, okay, Tisha, I've been a stay-at-home mom for the past 8 years. And so now I'm trying to get back into the workforce and figure it out. Like, okay, like you said, you ask yourself that question. And I'm like, okay, where do I want to be? Where do I see me? Yes, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, but that's not everything that that I want to be. So it's important to figure out the steps, and to do that journey in the process on becoming. That's the big thing now, becoming. So
and I think you have to just take that stand for yourself, because I know a lot of, I was there too, and I know a lot of women that I know are in this space too, because you live your life in a certain way where, like I said, everybody's getting what they want out of it but you. And they're used to it. They're used to getting what they want and what they need and drawing from you without you necessarily needing anything in return, or them giving anything in return. And so it becomes a point where you just kind of have to do it and be okay with the reaction. And a lot of times people will adjust, sometimes you'll be surprised. People are actually happy that you're choosing you and happy that you're doing something for you, and they'll adjust. And then sometimes people will grown people, men and women will throw toddler temper tantrums.
And those are the ones you have to cut your life.
And that, and that's how you kind of identify. Sometimes it's a good thing, because there are toxic people that kind of hide in the wings of our life and disguise themselves as friends and, confidants and people that are there for you. And family.
Yes.
But you kind of don't know what their true intentions are until you say no.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. This is so good. This is very, very relatable. God, Kenya, you have so much information, so much knowledge. And, you could just give us so much on this journey that you took, and you're just beginning. Like, your career is going really well. Your business is doing good.
Thank God.
So,
praise God. Yeah.
So you was able to go through those personal things to get you to where you're at today.
Yeah. And that's why I say your life is your business, so your business should support your life. Because for a long time, I had it backwards. And I think a lot of us do. I know for me, my life was such a mess that I was like, you know what, if I can get this business up and going, I can generate the income, then everything in my life will be better. Like, my husband will be better because he'll see I'm making money. And then my children will be better because I'll have time to spend more time with them because I can pay whatever. Like, it was an outside in approach. And then when my life completely fell apart, regardless of all the outside stuff I was pursuing, and I was forced to focus on what really mattered most, I was like, you know what, I had this thing all backwards, and I think we have it all backwards. Our life is we are the CEO of our lives first.
Yes.
And if that's out of balance, nothing really can really flow from that. Everything else is like a Band-Aid, And so that's, for me, it was like, okay, let me tend to myself and my inner world and the things that I want, and make sure that I'm being in sync and aligned with that, and make sure every decision that I make supports how I want to feel, the love that I want to give, just a place of happiness and joy, so that I don't get caught up in these traps anymore. Yeah. So
that's where you do that internal search. And like you said, the CEO of your life first. I like that. So is that when Shiro came about? How did that all come about?
The Shiro thing came about. I was working with a branding expert and trying to get to the core of who I was, which was hard at the time because I didn't know. But we kind of started laying that groundwork, and I don't really remember exactly how that came about. I don't really remember whether it was her or me that suggested it, but however it happened, the term came up, and I was like, oh, that sounds good, And at first, it seemed kind of cheesy, so I kind of came away from it. But I think I embraced it because you've heard the concept of women being super women.
Yes.
Which is a deadly disease. I don't recommend any woman, if you got the cape on, take it off.
Really?
Right now. Yes, because if you think about a superwoman or a superhero, when you look at those movies, they go and they're fighting people and they're getting jacked up in the process. I mean, they're getting thrown through walls, all to save somebody, right? And I was like, I don't want to be like that. I don't feel like I need to get beat up to serve, right? And so the whole she-role concept is like, we are super, we have superpowers, we have these gifts and talents and things, but we should do it in balance. So the she-rolepreneur is not being a superwoman, but it's all about serving without sacrificing yourself. It's serving and impacting the lives of others in a powerful, positive way while serving yourself and doing the same thing for yourself. So that's, kind of like the backstory behind she-rolepreneurs. It's like you can do it, you can help people, and you can serve people, and you can make other people's lives better, but don't forget you.
You can do it while also taking care of yourself.
Absolutely.
And taking that time out to make sure you're good so you can put into others and make sure they're good.
Absolutely.
Woo, girl. Woo. This has been some good information, some amazing tips, but we have to take a little break. And we will have one more question for you before we wrap this all up.
Awesome sauce.
Join our Mommy Business Tribe on Facebook, where you can share your thoughts about today's show and to get more exclusive information. It's a great place for networking and to inspire others to win at this thing we call life. Remember, ladies, your life, your blueprint. Let's get to building. Welcome back, Mommy Bosses. We're here with Kenya. Hey, Kenya.
Hey. Welcome back.
So we have another question for you. One of the, a very important question that I think that everyone would want to know is, how do you truly balance business and life and actually make it work for you?
Yeah. And I think that's a really important thing. My whole thing is helping women build life-friendly businesses because all of our lives look different. Some of us have husbands and kids. Some of us have never been married, never had kids, but we're caregivers and we have other drama going on in our lives. I call it like women with big ambitions and complicated lives, right?
Yes.
Because we all have some sort of complication, whether it's health problems or whatever. And so I think one of the first things that we need to do, and one of the things that I had to do, was first accept where you are and what your life looks like. And all the beauty and mess and loveliness of it.
Love it all.
Just love all of it, and accept that it's okay. Wherever you are, it's okay. And then from there, you start to take inventory of the things that are working for you, the things that you like, and the things that you don't like, right? So it kind of goes back to that question that I said that I figured out that I had to ask myself and answer. What do you want is the first place to start, because I know I'm not the only one that, as a woman, asking yourself, what do you want, stumps you.
Right.
Because we haven't thought about it a lot. We're always thinking about what the kids want, what does the husband want, what does the church want, what does my family want, what is, whatever. And we don't really have time to think about what we want. So that's one of the first things that you should do, is take inventory and ask yourself, what do I want, right? What would make me happy? What would make me feel fulfilled? How do I want to feel on a day-to-day basis, right? And the other thing to understand about that and why that's so important, and I like to park it here because a lot of times we like to jump into, okay, I need a website and I need to market it and I need to create a product and I need to do all of that. And all of that stuff is good, but if the foundation is built on sand, when the winds of life come and something goes wrong, everything that you've built will fall apart, right? So the rock to build everything on is, what do you want? And everything else, every decision you make from there is like a building block. Like, you're building you're
Exactly.
in commercial real estate and everything. So blueprint, you're building the blueprint, right? You have to have a blueprint so you know where stuff goes, you know what should be done first, and all of that kind of stuff or whatever. I don't really know about real estate, but I'm thinking that's how it goes.
Well, you're on a good path.
But you need some sort of structure to build on top of, because if you take shortcuts, then the building won't stand, right?
Exactly.
So that's kind of like the concept. You want to know what you want. You want to get very clear on that. And you want to be clear on your strengths and your weaknesses, because you want to operate in your strengths, and you want to either outsource your weaknesses or do whatever you need to do to improve those areas, right?
Yes.
So if you're talking about something like internally, in terms of like maybe you are not setting boundaries properly. Because I say, as in life, so in business. So if you're showing up in your life where you're never saying no, and you're always saying yes, and you're putting your dreams and your things on the back burner for other people, guess what's going to happen? When you get a client, number one, you're going to undercharge, you're going to over-deliver. Yes. They're going to get used to that.
Your value and how much you're worth.
Absolutely. And then your clients start treating you in the same way that people in your life is treating you. And so it becomes just a continuous vicious cycle. So that's why I kind of really, and I know like a lot of my clients, when I first start working with them, they're like, this is where we got to start. I want to know how to market this book.
Right.
And I'm like, I know you want to know that. But we have to deal with the internal stuff, because if you don't deal with that, it's going to show up in just your confidence to put your stuff out there. All of that stuff comes up. So I think it's important to understand where you are, understand what you want and how you want to feel, and start making decisions from that place. Because as you start to build your business, there's we live in this digital age. There's so much stuff. So many people. And then let somebody know that you are trying to do something. Then here comes the advice. Girl, you need to do this.
I was just about to say that. And that's why you have to figure out what it is that you want. Absolutely. Because you're going to have other people coming to you thinking or telling you what they feel like you should be doing.
Yeah.
So it is okay to be respectful about it. Like, thank you for your advice, but that's not where I'm at right now. That's not what I want. You have to have that foundation set in place. I really like that. And another thing someone told me is, you can't compare your step 1 to someone's step 20.
Yes.
You're on social media and you're like, oh my God, they're doing this, they're doing that. I instantly want to be there.
Yeah.
No, you got to get into, the foundation of your business, and it may take you a year or 2 years, to build it to where you want it to be.
Yeah.
But you have to start there.
Yeah.
So,
everybody has different supports. I mean, there's everybody's life support, resources. It all looks different. And that's why I say you always want to make decisions based on where you are, what you want, and how you want to feel. Because there may be, if I come to you, Letitia, and I give you advice about what you want to do, and you're making a decision from that place, then it's healthier for you, and it protects you from getting swept up in something that's taking you off track and doing something just because it seems to be working for somebody else, but it's not for you. Like, it's okay if that works for you and that's your path,
right.
But so you save yourself a lot of time and money and energy and heartache by just making sure that you're making decisions from that place.
Oh, that's so good. Good. Your life, your blueprint.
Your life, your blueprint. Exactly.
That's where it come from.
And the other piece that I'll say about the life-friendly business part, and then I'll quit talking.
You're fine. We like this good advice you're giving us.
Is that you want to create your products and services in a way that you embrace the vision that, okay, I want to set this up, and within 3 to 5 years or less, I can remove myself from being so involved in my business. And so a lot of the mistake that we make is we create these service-based businesses, which is fine, but we don't think about, okay, well, what happens to me if I have health issues?
Right.
Or what happens to me if something in my family, I have an emergency and I have to stop? And this is the dilemma that's happening with a lot of people, is because life is happening right as they're building, and everything stops because they're the only one capable of making the money in the business. So you want to create products, digital products, books, whatever it is, that can create passive streams of income so your business can make money whether you're there or not. Whether you just want to go on vacation and not have to work, you want your business to make money. And then finally, the last thing that you want to do is delegate and automate. You want to make sure that you have technology that can, people can find you, they can buy on their own, they can get through the process without a whole lot of you having to be there. And if you need to hire somebody at some point, you need to be able to do that and have those people do those jobs that don't necessarily require you. So that's kind of the quick and dirty version of how to, build your business in a life-friendly way.
Good job, Kenya. We like this. So because you're giving such great information, I'm sure that people that are going to want to follow you and find more information, get more of your tips and get more advice from you. Can you tell the audience how they can follow you?
Yep. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Kenya Halliburton. That's Halliburton with 2 L's. Or you can just go to kenyahalliburton.com and connect with me wherever is convenient for you.
Okay. One last question for real. What was the best advice given to you early in your career or in your marriage that you followed and it paid off?
I would say the success that you want is already inside of you. You have everything you need to be successful.
Hey, there you have it.
Yep.
Thank you so much. This was really good information.
I enjoyed it.
That's all for this episode. Thanks for listening. And remember, please share, subscribe, and leave a review on iTunes. Do you have any comments or questions about today's topic? I'd love to hear from you. Join our Mommy Business Tribe on Facebook, where you can share your thoughts about today's show and to get more exclusive information. It's a great place for networking and to inspire others to win at this thing we call life. Remember, ladies, your life, your blueprint. Let's get to building. This podcast is produced by Paradox East and powered in part by the Maitland Conservatory. Visit them at themaitlandconservatory.org.